Next on stage is former Democratic National Committee Chairman Tim Kaine. Tim was sworn in as Governor of Virginia in 2006 and previously served as the mayor and as a city councilman for the city of Richmond. He graduated from the University of Missouri and Harvard Law School. Please join me in welcoming Tim Kaine.
Good job, Tim. Good luck, man. Thank you. Thank you.
We are so very pleased that this debate will be moderated by Candy Crowley. She's the chief political correspondent and anchor of State of the Union with Candy Crowley on cable news network CNN. State of the Union plans to run highlights from this debate in its program tomorrow morning, State of the Union with Candy Crowley. This airs Sundays at 9 a.m. and noon on CNN. As chief political correspondent, Ms. Crowley covers presidential, congressional, and gubernatorial races and major legislation on Capitol Hill. Her political coverage has resulted in a Peabody Award, a Gracie Allen Award, and an Emmy Award. Please join me in giving Ms. Crowley a warm welcome as she joins the stage.
Good morning, Candy.
First of all, thank you all for being here on a Saturday morning when there are lots of other opportunities for you to be playing golf, etc. So this is good for democracy. Thank both of you for showing up here. And as you know, the rules start with opening statements from the candidates. And I do believe Governor Allen.
No, Tim's first. I'm last.
Oh, sorry. I've already misread the rules. Governor Kaine, please give your opening statement.
Thank you, Candy, and good morning to everyone. It's great to be back with you. My wife Ann and I had a unique privilege yesterday. We went to the Ram Medical Clinic in Wise County, Virginia, which is an annual event where hundreds of people gather from hundreds of miles, ultimately thousands of people, to get medical service that they lack access to in the communities where they live. Not only are there folks there from many, many states seeking medical care, but there's volunteers, Lions Club members and dentists and physicians and oral hygienists there showing the best of our spirit to try to help folks out. As Ann and I were working the registration booth and as we were thanking people for serving, the thought of who was a Republican and who was a Democrat didn't occur to us. We were thinking a little bit yesterday, and there was discussion among people about the horrible tragedy in Colorado, and it brought up painful memories of similar events in Virginia, the shooting at Virginia Tech 5 years ago, the shooting nearby at the Appalachian School of Law in Grundy a few years before that. And again, as we think about victims and their families, we're not thinking about whether they're Republicans or Democrats. We have big issues that we need to tackle as a nation. There are huge needs that we need to address. And we have huge resources to address them, not just financial resources, but resources of spirit and willingness to pull together as a community. But somehow we've let our politics get very, very small, divisive, petty, too personal. And while there's a lot of issues, and we'll share and contrast on issues today, and that's important, I think maybe one of the most important things for those of us running this year, whatever the race, is to try to elevate this. Because the folks who are waiting in line at Wise, they deserve that of us. And the people who come around to volunteer to fill the gaps in the safety net, they deserve that of us. It's been my pleasure to try to serve that way, bringing people together and lifting people up. And if I have the chance to serve as a senator, I'll continue to do that. Thank you.
Governor Allen, your 2 minutes.
Thank you. Like Tim, I think we come together this morning with heavy hearts for the victims of the tragedy in Colorado, and all our prayers are with those families. Folks, for more than a year, I've had well over 200 small business roundtables, town hall meetings, and various events listening to the people of Virginia. I've heard from so many people is that Washington's policies are hurting them, their families, and their businesses. They feel that their voices are being ignored by those in Washington. And in fact, more than anything that I hear from folks, whether in Southwest Virginia or anywhere else in our Commonwealth, is they tell me what's needed most by people in their communities are more jobs and more opportunities. Virginians are hurting because of the failed policies in Washington which my opponent has advocated. They are an obstacle to small and big businesses to invest and create the jobs that we so desperately need. And if these policies aren't changed, the situation is going to get much worse for Virginians. A deal that was passed last summer, which I opposed and Tim Kaine supported, has us facing $500 billion in defense cuts that will harm our military and cause severe job losses in Virginia. And indeed, it'll be devastating to our economy. In fact, over 200,000 good-paying jobs in Virginia are at stake if Washington continues to fail to act. We cannot let this happen. Like most Virginians, I believe the way to get our economy growing and creating jobs again is by reinvigorating the entrepreneurial spirit of our country with positive pro-job tax, regulatory, energy, and education policies. This will be my priority if I'm elected senator. I know we can have a healthy economy, creating the jobs that people need without these devastating cuts. It's time to bring the voices of hard-working Virginians to Washington for a more efficient, effective, and accountable government, and that's what I'll do.
So we want to move on to the question. My turn here for a little bit, and the first question is to Governor Kaine. It's something you both brought up, and that is what happened in Aurora, Colorado. We all come together in sorrow. Inevitably, the gun debate comes up, and it already has. Now, looking at what we know so far, which may change, we have a young man with no known record, no known police record, an honor student, a PhD candidate. He shows up at a movie theater. He's got 2 pistols, one of them a 9mm Glock, a shotgun, an assault rifle, and a drum magazine that's capable of firing up to 100 rounds. He's also got tear gas canisters, all of which we are told he was able to purchase legally over a 3-month period. And we are told that he was able to get 6,000 rounds of ammunition off the internet. Now, the president's spokesman said yesterday, what the president wants to do is protect the Second Amendment and the gun rights of everyone while making sure that people who shouldn't have guns don't get them. Governor Kaine, what law is that would have prevented Aurora, Colorado?
You know, Candy, I had to deal with a very similar situation when I was governor, and we had the horrible shooting at Virginia Tech in April of 2012. And I remember I came back with President Bush to go to Tech, and we were there at a very moving convocation service and then spent time with family members. And I walked in to talk to the press, and one of the first questions someone asked me is, you know, do we need to heed the calls for changing the gun laws right away? And I really got mad at the reporter who asked me. I was tired and a little bit emotional, and I just blasted him by saying, you know, let us deal with our grieving families and let us deal with our problems before we immediately try to politicize this. And I feel a little bit, I saw what some of the comments were yesterday, I feel a little bit the same way. What we did, though, is that we stepped back and we learned and we fixed and we made improvements. I worked together with then Attorney General Bob McDonnell, the current governor, to fix aspects of Virginia's gun law that had led to that problem. When people were being adjudicated mentally ill and dangerous, that information wasn't going into the background records check. And so we need to learn and fix, get more intelligence, and find out a way to fix some of the problems that led to this. I, for one, believe we need to do background records checks when guns are purchased at gun shows, because if we don't, we let people get guns who shouldn't. And I was also very disappointed this year when a signature law that was a bipartisan accomplishment of Governor Wilder and the Republican U.S. Attorney Richard Cullen, the limitation of 1 handgun a month purchase was allowed to expire. We need to learn and we need to fix.